if anybody says that E3 is supposed to be a train wreck, oh man, what a wonderful train wreck!
No, E3 was a train wreck for certain people, but for other people, it was perfectly fine. Well, just really one company. But with that being said, before we dive into it, let's introduce ourselves. Who wants to introduce themselves? Well, lady, introduce herself. Go ahead.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. This is Jory. I'm start welcoming you to the BS Busters Midweek podcast, and E3 is on.
And just now, Nintendo just wrapped up their second day at the Treehouse, but
we're not talking about the Treehouse until Saturday. It's like it doesn't exist until Saturday because I don't want to try and
sort out all information of 2 days.
Well, I mean, it's like you'd have to parse through 6 hours of material, and I'm not over 6 hours of material, and I'm not going to try and do that.
I was going to say it's now 12, so yeesh. Yeah, well, you're right.
It's 6.5 hours every day, so 6.5 hours of material. It's inconceivable for someone to try and parse through all that material right now. Especially when there's another day of it going on tomorrow. So,
yeah, we'll use Saturday for decompression.
Yeah, Saturday is going to be the E3 recap and the Treehouse information. So, Pinky, introduce yourself.
Hello, this is Pedophile Brilliant Facts. Boy, Nintendo won E3 yet again.
Yeah, they did. They win E3.
So before we talk about what happened with Nintendo, I think we're going to have to go through beep again.
We're going to have to save Nintendo for last because we're going to cover the first parties last. So first we got to cover the third party stuff. We got to get through the bitter to get to the sweet.
So who's the first in the chopping block?
Let's see. First, we're going to go do EA because might as well get their bullshit out the way first. So here's what EA showed. They showed Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So here's the thing. EA came out and they're like, hey, the game doesn't have microtransactions or loot boxes. Yay! And everyone clapped because, a single-player game shouldn't have microtransactions or loot boxes.
I was about to make a golf clap because that was a pitiful shot.
Well, I mean, it's basically bragging about a single-player game not having loot boxes or microtransactions is like, I mean, it's like that old Chris Rock stand-up bit where he's like, people who want accolades for doing shit they should have done in the first place. Like, I take care of my kids. You're supposed to take care of your kids. I need to go to jail. You're not supposed to go to jail, you stupid motherfucker. What do you want, a cookie for?
I was going to make the joke that at least in a Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah. So basically...
And did they show the typical Madden or FIFA games?
Well, I'm going through I will link the page, and you can see where I'm getting the information from. I haven't scrolled all the way down yet, but basically it's probably there too. But anyway, E3 showed Jedi Fallen Order. That was the big game for a lot of people. And I mean, the game looks generic as fuck. It's got the Star Wars branding on it, but it doesn't really feel like a Star Wars game. It doesn't look like a Star Wars game. And surprise, surprise, it actually started life as something else that they just reskinned as a Star Wars game. So it's like, even when EA makes a Star Wars game, they can't actually fucking make a Star Wars game. It's some other shit that they just threw the Star Wars license on top of. Which, knowing EA, not surprising because they're bastards. And they also showed Apex Legends. They brought a new character. It's a defensive character who just buffs the shit out of other characters, giving them defensive bonuses. I guess that's cool. FIFA 20. shows off Volta mode, but Volta mode, FIFA 20's Volta mode which is basically kind of bringing back the aesthetic and gameplay style of FIFA Street. Unfortunately, FIFA mode is only on the quote unquote next gen versions of the game. So if you own a Switch and you wanted to enjoy this new version of FIFA 20 that comes with
They
like
got
the
two
more
middle fingers, don't they?
arcade, you ain't getting it because what they're putting on the Switch is basically a port of the Vita engine, which is basically the old shit. So once again, Nintendo gamers getting fucked over by EA, which at this point is anyone surprised?
I was about to say, they are dead. No big surprise. I'm sorry, I had to do the heavy joke.
Yeah, I mean, does anyone
It's
care
obvious.
at this point?
Only way I'd care is if they were offering $1 million for somebody to show false advertisement that they actually care about something.
It is what it is. So with that being said, let's see what other information did we learn from EA? Oh yes, The Sims 4 Island Living expansion is a tropical getaway for your Sims. So the continued bastardization and whoring out of the Sims franchise continues.
Great.
Pardon me. Continue. I'll be right back. Someone's calling me.
All right. So what did they show with The Sims?
The Sims Island Tour. I feel bad that the Sims are under EA because now they could really be on fire and well, no fire extinguisher and oh god, I just realized I'm feeling sorry for the Sims. Is that right?
Is it about microtransactions?
It's likely going to have them, especially for the expansions, if they're pulling off what they did with the Sims 3.
Well, they've been bastardizing it. Like back in the day, like Sims 1, Sims 2, even Sims 3 to an extent. Basically, the Sims would come out. Like I never bought the Sims day one. I would wait for the Game of the Year edition where you had all the content and it was cheaper, like $39, $29, whatever. Get it on sale for like $20. Now, with EA's games as a service model, basically you don't get that. Like if you're lucky, you might get a Game of the Year edition, like years down the line. Like I think only recently Dragon Age Inquisition got a Game of the Year edition that had all the content, and that was like 5-6 years after that game came out. Now it's like The Sims 4 still is getting expansions, and like the base game might be $20 or $30 on sale, but with all the extra content that never goes on sale practically, it's like a $150 game. And that's just for the expansions. We're not talking about the nickel and dime microtransactions that are in the game. So yeah, I give no shits about the Sims franchise since EA got their hands on it. And I used to be a huge Sims fan, but I mean after Sims 2, like when EA drove out Will Wright and
Maxis.
And Maxis became a shithole. Maxis still exists in name, but it's it's like Origin. It's like
It's barely a soul of itself, right?
Well, it's EA bullshit, is what it is.
Yeah.
And after that is Battlefield 5.
Yeah, Battlefield 5, which, I mean, does anyone give a shit about this game anymore? But yeah, Battlefield 5 getting more maps in Unveils Chapter 5. No one cares. I think I just basically, Madden NFL 20. Once again, does anyone give a shit? And that was it. If we total the big announcements they had, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six things, most of which I would say half of them no one gives a shit about. There you go. So EA basically wasted, I don't know, like maybe $500,000 with all the promotional material and the advertisement and putting everything together for some shit that half of it no one gives a shit about. I don't think. I don't think a lot of people care about Sims 4 that much. I think a lot of people have left Battlefield 5 months ago. Madden sales have been going down. FIFA sales have been going down. Apex Legends was hot for like a month and then it went down. So, I mean, who cares? So
I'd say it's D- material.
okay, so you're giving it a D-. Pinky? A, B, C, D.
Probably give it a D as well.
You guys are more charitable than me. I'm giving them an F.
I said D- because if anything, they at least got some. They're trying to. I'm giving them a D because there's at least one thing that I actually liked about them, and that was The Sims.
I'm giving them an F because they're probably gonna fuck up anything that people would be optimistic about. Like they're probably gonna fuck up Star Wars. They fucked up The Sims. Madden's fucked up. Basically, EA is the perpetual F student that for some reason is still in the grade, even though they should have been flunked out a long time ago. They should have flunked out a long time ago.
Right. It's just that if anything, I said D-, and I'm being generous with that because of The Sims alone.
I can't.
And I'm just wanting to see what they do. So if anything, it makes me worry about what The Sims are going to end up doing.
Yeah, I can't be charitable because, I mean, part of the reason EA has been able to get away with the bullshit they've been doing for so long is that people were like, well, let's give them a chance. Let's give them a chance. Fuck, I'm tired of giving these fuckers chances. They've had enough chances.
I'm not giving them a chance. I'm just watching what they do and then grading them on what they pull off.
EA has had more than enough fucking chances. So at this point, I'm done. They get no more chances. So Sprite Remix says Seconds and Seitu 3. I mean Secret of Mana 2. He's like fuck Trials of Mana. Yeah, it is kind of weird that they're calling it Trials of Mana, Sprite. I personally in my head will always call it Seconds and Seitu 3 because that's what I knew it as, or Secret of Mana. Technically it's Secret of Mana 3. Because the Secret of Mana that we played is actually Secret of Mana 2. The one that was localized to America. So, yeah. But anyway, we haven't gotten to Square Enix yet. So I gave EA an F because fuck them. So let's move on to Square Enix. Okay then. I will link in the description what Square Enix is a recap of their general conference. Okay, then. So first, they showed Marvel's Avengers. It's a live service multiplayer game coming in 2020, and I don't know about you, but the shit looks generic as fuck.
What, the new Avengers game?
Yeah, it looks generic as fuck to me. Like the characters look generic. The Hulk looks like every character just looks off. And I know people are going to say, well, you know, they look, I guess because they're going for a realistic art style for characters from comic books, and they should be going for a more comic book art style rather than trying to make it look realistic, which is, I think that's where they're kind of fucking up a little bit. But that's just me. What are you guys' thoughts on the Marvel Avengers live service game?
There was
head to wall.
we're not. We don't know if we actually saw any actual gameplay footage because we aren't sure if it's just cutscenes. If it's just cutscenes or actual gameplay footage.
Yeah, I was interested in it until it said live service, and then I was like, oh, so basically this is going to be kind of like Destiny or Anthem, but done shoddily and half-assed. Except Anthem was also done shoddily and half-assed, so it's going to be like Anthem, except instead of generic characters with a weird plot, it's going to be Avengers with generic plot and shitty action. I mean, like I said, I was really interested in it until I found out it's like literally it can be played in a team of up to 4 players online with multiple years of content planned beyond release. Oh God, this is
Destiny is gonna be joined by this game.
Yeah, it's gonna be Destiny actually had a second life. This is gonna be Anthem. this shit's gonna be Anthem all over again. Like, why don't you just make a fucking complete game, and then if it sells well, then you do an expansion. You don't fucking release, because basically when they tell me multiple years of content, that means it's gonna come out and be very fucking bare bones, lacking a lot of content, and then they're gonna be, well, we're gonna add some later down the line. It's like, no, it's gonna be bullshit. In my opinion, I know some people might be a little on the it could be good, but fuck that. So next we have the Final Fantasy remake. Yeah.
And for some reason, they're going, despite being episodic, they're going to split the first episode into 2 Blu-ray discs.
Basically, first of all, I don't know why they call this a remake. It's not a remake. A remake would entail you're taking the complete original game and then you're just updating it for a newer generation. This isn't a remake. This is where they take certain memorable moments from Final Fantasy VII and you revisit those in a new graphical engine, gameplay engine, that type of thing. It's not a remake. Which is just fucking offensive to me. Because I don't even like Final Fantasy VII, but what they're doing to Final Fantasy VII as a quote-unquote remake is offensive to me.
So would you call it a reboot then?
It's not even a reboot. It's because, okay, even if you do a reboot, you're still taking the source material and you're still telling that story. This is literally not that story. It's kind of like what's the best way I can put this? It's like if you how can I put this? It's kind of like Godzilla's Revenge. Like Godzilla's Revenge is a movie where they just took a lot of stock footage, and then so you basically, if you look at it carefully, you can see stock footage from other Godzilla movies in that movie with very little original footage. Like that's basically this game. It's basically just a series of events from Final Fantasy VII that are basically being revamped into, a certain and being remade in a new engine, but it's not like they're actually remaking the entire game, which tells you how fucking lazy and sorry Square Enix is, where they can't fucking remake a Final Fantasy game. Like they're just like piecemealing this shit.
Which hurts people like me that remember the Final Fantasy game for how it was.
Yeah.
And hurts some of the new fans because, seriously, there's a real Final Fantasy out there, and it's coming to not only the Switch, but it's also on other consoles.
Yeah, I mean, personally, as someone who fucking hates Final Fantasy VII, like, yes, Final Fantasy VII brought in an entirely new generation of people but here's the thing. Those people who played Final Fantasy VII, they didn't go on to play Final Fantasy 8 or 9 or 10. They just played Final Fantasy VII. So while it brought those people to the PlayStation, it did not grow the
brand.
It didn't grow the core fan base of JRPGs, which is the problem with Final Fantasy VII. It got people into Final Fantasy VII. Because you ask people who are like, yeah, I love Final Fantasy VII. Did you play any of the other ones after 7? No. Then shut the fuck up. you think you're an expert on RPGs because you played one fucking RPG. It's offensive. So yeah, and those people, they're probably going to be pissed at the Final Fantasy VII remake. So this is probably going to backfire horrifically on Square Enix. But they brought it on themselves. They got into bed with Sony, and now they got STDs. So there you go. So then we have Outriders featuring 3-player co-op survival on a hostile alien planet. It looks kind of shitty, just to be honest with you.
And a DLC expansion for Kingdom Hearts 3, which is extra bosses and weapons.
If only I gave a flying fuck. I know some people do give a flying fuck, but I'm like, meh. So here's the other announcements that might be more interesting to those of you who don't give a shit about Kingdom Hearts like me. Final Fantasy VIII Remastered is coming to the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC later on this year. Unfortunately, Final Fantasy VIII sucks, so...
The only good thing about it would be the minigame.
No, the only good thing about Final Fantasy VIII is when you turn that shit off and go play a real RPG. Another game being remastered is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles.
Which is also coming to mobile.
It's also coming to mobile. For what reason, I don't know. I might get this game because I have it on GameCube, and if they can fix some of those graphics. Now, for those of you who get this game, I'm just going to tell you right now, Crystal Chronicles is not a Final Fantasy game. It has a few tropes of Final Fantasy in it, but it is not a Final Fantasy game, so don't get overly hyped about it. But if you want a game that's kind of like Gauntlet Legends and a really good multiplayer game that uses some of the Final Fantasy tropes in it, but is has a surprisingly deep storyline despite being like an arcadey 4-player beat 'em up. It's for you, and I think this one's going to have online multiplayer, which is going to make it great because, my God, did I hate having to get 3 friends together to play this game with friends. Because if you didn't, you had to use your Moogle as your co-op buddy. Yep. And Moogle was stupid, so the AI for it was really dumb. So here we go. Octopath Travelers now on Steam. I would tell you right now, don't get it right now because it's $60. It is not a $60 game. It's like a $40, $50 game. So wait till it's on sale. The Last Remnant Remastered is available now on Nintendo Switch.
Have you played The Last Remnant?
I've heard that it's really good. I've never really, because when it first came out, it was exclusive to the Xbox. And I swear I will never buy an Xbox because fuck that console and fuck Microsoft for making it. So yeah, but I might get it on the Switch if it's not some ridiculously overpriced Nintendo tax price. Dragon Quest Builders 2, don't really give a shit about it. Don't like Minecraft or creator games. But it's available. There's some cool stuff coming out for it. Dragon Quest XI: Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition is coming to the Nintendo Switch with retro graphics option. As previously announced, it launches this fall. I might double dip and get that game. Keyword might. I already have it on PC, so it's like, do I really want to get it again? Even with the extra content, it's like, Circuit Superstars is a top-down racing game with tactile physics and pit crews and multiplayer. Romancing Saga 3 is coming soon to PS4, PS Vita, and why the Vita? Because that's a dead handheld. Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
Did I just hear you right?
Yeah, it's coming to the Vita. I'm like, why?
I thought the Vita was dead.
Yeah, the Vita's dead. So why are they putting money to put it on the Vita? I'll never understand that. Saga Scarlet Grace Ambitions is coming to the PS4, Switch, and PC. So basically, we're getting 2 Saga games. One, in my opinion, Romancing Saga 3 is like the best Saga game in the series. And it's being, it's being revamped a little bit, remastered a little bit. It's really good. Romancing Saga 3, basically, like everyone keeps on saying that that the Octopath Traveler is the successor to Final Fantasy, like the old 16-bit Final Fantasies. I disagree. Octopath Traveler is the successor to the Romancing Saga series, because if you look at the battle, like how they fight and stuff like that, it's very romancing. It's very similar. They're very similar to one another. Saga Scarlet Grace Ambitions. I remember hearing about that game. I never got it because at the time I was on a fuck Square Enix bang, but I heard it was okay, if not pretty damn good. And they're making another spin-off of the Final Fantasy Brave series. I mean, if you don't give a shit about it, good for you. They're also releasing they're finally bringing over the the Seiken Densetsu collection, except now it's called like the Secret of Mana collection. You get Final Fantasy Adventure, aka Secret of Mana 1, Secret of Mana 2, aka the Secret of Mana we got here in America, and the Trials of Mana, which is really Seiken Densetsu 3, Secret of Mana 3. But they're also releasing a complete reimagining of Secret of Mana 3 for the system. So, yeah, it looks pretty good. Believe it or not, I think this the remaster of Secret of Mana 3 looks closer to what they were going for with the original Secret of Mana than the bullshit they tried to pull with the Secret of Mana re-release that was just lazy as fuck, if anyone remembers that re-release. So, let's see. Anyone want to give their grade for Square Enix?
I'll give them a C.
I'm putting them along with EA after all their screw ups.
A D-?
Yep.
Okay. I am going to give them a C. I give them a C because in some retrospects they're trying. In some respects they're trying to get better and not be the douchebags that they've been. In other respects they're still fucking up. But overall, I can see where they're trying to make some type of effort. More so than EA, where EA's just like, fuck it, we're gonna ride this car, this house is burning down, we're gonna stay in it until it's ashes.
Who's up next? Ubisoft, Bethesda.
Yeah, we got to go to Ubi shit. So Ubi shit. Sorry, Ubisoft. I don't know why I say that.
Because their logo looks like something that's flushing.
No, I call them Ubi shit because sometimes when they fuck up, it's like, come on, man, why'd you fuck up like that? So anyway, so the big game that they showed was Watch Dogs Legion, which actually looks pretty interesting. I might get it because I like Watch Dogs 2. I got that game on sale for like $15 off a Humble Bundle. And the interesting hook of Watch Dogs Legion is that instead of you having like a core character, you recruit different characters in the game. One of which can be some old lady who used to be a spy, a guy who also, she used to be an assassin. You can recruit a black guy, a bald-headed black guy who's a spy. It looks really interesting. It's set in a somewhat slightly in the future dystopian London. Looks pretty interesting.
It's like they're taking cues from 1984 as well as gameplay elements from Zombie U.
Yeah, it looks relatively interesting. There's permadeath. It looks interesting. Now, here's the thing. It's Ubisoft, so even though something looks interesting with Ubisoft, it's like, okay, this could still fuck up. So I'm cautiously pessimistic. Not cautiously optimistic because it's Ubisoft and I expect them to fuck up. So that's why I'm cautiously pessimistic. Next, Watch Dogs Legion. Ghost Recon Breakpoint shows off John Bernthal, a beta, and the Terminator. I don't know what that's about, but basically John Bernthal apparently lent his face to it. Which, I mean, like, here's the thing. John Bernthal.
And he brought his dog on stage, which
His
stole the
dog
show.
Bam Bam. Like, here's the thing. John Bernthal as the Punisher. Like, that's the role that he's basically made his own. As Frank Castiglione, aka Frank Castle. But the thing is that like I recently went back on Netflix and watched all of the Punisher, and John Bernthal just. I mean, it's almost funny how violent the Punisher can get sometimes. But yeah, they're doing another Ghost Recon. Hopefully, this one is. Hopefully this means they'll also bring back Splinter Cell and actually make it stealthy and not as actiony as they've been trying to do it. So
Oh, and this is not the only Tom Clancy game they announced.
No. Then we have the Division 2, which they're doing some more episodes, so extra content coming. If I gave a shit about the Division or the Division 2, I guess is good. But if you're into the Division, this is good news for you. I don't give a fuck about the Division. So that's me.
And they introduced us a Tom Clancy mobile game starring main characters of the various Tom Clancy games.
Jack Ryan
and Sam Fisher.
Okay, all right. Jack Ryan, Sam Fisher, back together again. Roller Champions is their answer to Rocket League, and I thought it was going to be some really cool shit, but apparently it's just some bullshit. So, whatever. Rainbow Six Quarantine is a PvE co-op battle against mutated horrors, and once I found that out, I was like, yeah, nope, don't give a shit. Uplay Plus is a new subscription service for the PC. So for $15.99 a month, you get access to 100 games, including the premium editions with all the DLC and early access to newer games. So you get it's basically kind of like a more expensive Google Stadia premium, or a really it's 3 times more expensive than what Microsoft has with their Microsoft $5 a month thing. So, I mean,
And just when I thought they were gonna stop making cringy Just Dance performances in the beginning, because
they pulled.
They did one at the end. Yeah. So yeah, they did one at the end just because. Oh, but here's something else. But Uplay Plus is also going to be on Google Stadia, so I don't know how the fuck that's going to work. Because if you get the Xbox thing and then you get Uplay and then you get Stadia, you're spending $30 on 3 video game services. Now, potentially, you would have access to 500 games at any given time, so that's kind of cool. But damn, that's ridiculous. Next, we have Rob Michelini, the guy who helped create "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia."
They even played a theme song.
Yeah, Ubisoft is making a TV show because, man, those Assassin's Creed movies worked out so good for them.
And facepalm.
Yeah, I said it because they didn't. It's irony. But anyway, they're working on a TV show, about a guy who's making a video game who's an asshole, and it's for Apple TV Plus. So I mean, this is probably gonna suck ass, but you know. And plus, it's on Apple TV Plus, and there's no way on God's green earth I'm paying for that bullshit to watch it. So
I wasn't sure if I heard that right, and then I thought these guys are effing insane.
yeah, I'm just not. You know, it's like YouTube Red. Like I'm not paying the $10 it costs to get YouTube Red because fuck that.
Yeah, I mean I can enjoy YouTube without going red.
Well, I mean, it's just I have no reason to get premium YouTube because I just don't care. Because, like, okay, they have Cobra Kai, and that's the one really notable thing they have. I don't need to watch anything else.
I was
So,
about to say, the only thing that they really have is Cobra Kai, and yet, where the F is the other exclusives?
well, they do have other exclusives, just no one cares about it. Like, do you want to see a comedy show made by PewDiePie? That piece of shit. I don't.
Or see what those idiots of what was it? Oh yeah, Game Theory were trying to craft when it first started.
Yeah. So Sophia, right? Yes, we do have Banjo. But I mean,
Wait,
we're gonna get to Nintendo at the end. Nintendo is the pièce de résistance. We will get to Nintendo at the end. We're covering the third parties right now to get the badge out of the way first, because most of what they showed was bullshit, and we're gonna get them out the way first so that we can get to the gold, the nugget of gold at the bottom. So next game that from Ubisoft is Gods and Monsters, which is from the creators of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's basically kind of like an open world Monster Hunter sim, except you're hunting legendary beasts from Greek mythology. So I guess that's kind of cool.
Still no gameplay footage.
Yeah. They shouldn't. They showed it too early. For Honor is getting some
An extension.
well, it's getting like an event. Which I mean, I don't really give a shit. Rainbow Six Siege is getting a new update, which I guess is cool. And of course, Just Dance 2020,
which for some reason is also coming to the Wii.
because the Wii
what?
install base of 100 plus million, and when you have an install base that big, you can't afford not to put an ultra casual game like Just Dance on it. Brawlhalla has just added new heroes, so you get the Adventure Time heroes Finn, Jake, and Princess Bubblegum. To add to see, they should have added the Vampire Princess because she was hot, even though she was a lesbian. She and Princess Bubblegum were into each other, but hey, she was still hot.
All vampires are hot.
Yeah, because it helps them get their prey. Human beings, like some guys, like it was worth it. She's sucking my blood. When she said
I was about to make the joke that she may suck, but she's good at what she does.
some guys, like when she said she was gonna suck the soul out of me, I did not anticipate this type of sucking. So anyway, we've got Bethesda, or as I like to call them, shit. So, we have to give a grade to Ubisoft. So let's give the grade to Ubisoft.
I'll give it a minus if not for the cringy "You Just Dance" sequence.
I'm going to be more generous because a few things interest me a little bit. I give it at least a D, plain.
Pinky?
I said I'll just give them a B minus if it wasn't for that cringy. If it wasn't for that cringy Just Dance choreography segment midway.
Yeah, I'm giving Ubisoft a C once again because it's clear that they're trying, but it's Ubisoft, so you know, like Ubisoft trying is like, fuck it.
I was about to say, like, trying to watch them trying to watch them do a sit up, and it's the plump one that's always unable to do one.
No,
Right?
Ubisoft is like watching a turtle that's been flipped on its back, and it's trying to get on it. It's trying, but it just like, I'm trying, but it's not working. Dragon, would you like to give your grade for Ubisoft?
Hello. This one is tough. Like, I think Watch Dogs Legion gameplay was actually, I guess,
Yeah,
impressive.
that was the most interesting thing. Yeah, but everything else was kind of like
meh.
Yeah.
It's like if you get too enthusiastic with Ubisoft because they know how to do a presentation, but then the actual game comes out and it's like, yeah, I can't believe I got hyped up on that shit. You know? So A, B, C, D, F.
C minus.
All right, okay. So everyone aside from Pinky gave them a C. Okay.
I gave it D.
Okay, so I mean they're in the middle. Like highest grade is B. I'm giving them a C. Okay, then. So I guess we can move on to Bethesda, or sorry, Bethesda, depending on how you.
Other than Doom Eternal, the rest of what they announced was trash.
Well, I would say Doom Eternal was trash too, but not for the reasons you might be thinking. So let's get to shit Bethesda. So Doom Eternal actually looked kind of cool, but I'm like, this looks further away from Doom than the first Doom did, the Doom remake did. So I don't know, like, it looks more like a M-rated Metroid Prime than it does a Doom game, but whatever.
I mean, it's software. They know what they're doing.
I'm not gonna go with that because
Yeah,
they done fucked up too sometimes. So I'm not gonna be like, I just trust them on general merit. So then we get Fallout 76.
That
It's
trash.
bringing back NPCs to the Wastelanders to the Wasteland.
Was anyone wondering why the crowds were cheering whenever they talk about Fallout 76? It's almost as if they were either paid or brainwashed.
No, Bethesda paid for some hot women, or if they were female goers to the thing and they were heterosexual, some hot men who were really well endowed to come to the event. And when they went back to their hotel rooms, they had a little special favor. Plus $500.
I was going to say, if it wasn't paid out, then there's Bethesda zombies in that stage.
And plus they got a canvas bag. So basically, yeah.
Instead of nylon.
So basically, Bethesda is, they're adding shit that should have been with Fallout 76 from the start. And I mean, to me, the game is still trash because it's not a Fallout game.
Then they went and gave us a battle royale mode to catch in with Fortnite craze.
And look, it's gonna be. Look, let me put it this way: Fallout 76 will be dead by next year. It'll still be around, but it's not gonna have enough.
It's gonna be a zombie.
Yeah, it's not gonna have enough of an install base to really mean much anything. Ghostwire Tokyo is another game they showed, which I was like, It's from the lady who helped to create Bayonetta, so that's cool. She was the best part of the show, how cool she looked. Aside from that,
everyone can agree with you on that one.
Yeah, she like that's what I like. Someone coming to a show and just being like, "Fuck it." I love that. I love that. It's a shame she did it for Bethesda, but it is what it is. It looks interesting though. So then there's Deathloop coming from Arcane Studios. They're the people who made those awesome Dishonored games. And the Prey reboot sucked, so I'm not going to be like, oh my god, that was awesome.
Next up,
we should talk about them announcing the Orion.
The what?
The Orion.
I if it's on the list, we'll get to it.
Okay.
Then Elder Scrolls Blades is coming to the Nintendo Switch this fall. It's a free-to-play game that's microtransaction out the ass and been specifically geared in order to basically get you to spend money. So yeah, not really looking forward to this. Not planning on
In
downloading.
short, it's ASS.
Yeah. Fuck it. I'm done. Rage 2 teases the Rise of the Ghost expansion. I mean, it's from what
Why
I've
am I
heard,
not
the game is
surprised?
really boring. It's about it's better than the first Rage because it's longer, but it's still really boring. And this is from id Software, so
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think id does better when it's like a corridor shooter. Like if you give someone an open world, it just doesn't work as well.
Yeah. Not everybody could go Breath of the Wild open.
Well, I mean, there are companies that can do an open world game that works. That's okay, Dragon. You can go to the chat and just leave your comments there in the chat log because we're live. Like the thing about open world is like, okay, Shadow Warrior 2 has a semi-rogue like open world. Like you transport to a level and then you travel around that level, and every time you play, you go to a level. Every time you start a new game, the levels that are created are different from last time. So even if you go to the same location, it will be built different because it's
randomized.
Yeah, it's randomized. But I mean, it's semi-open world, so it's actually kind of enjoyable that way. I don't get that from like id. That's not the games they make. Like
They have structured time trial levels, right?
No, they make corridor shooters. That's what they make. I mean, these are the Doom people. They make corridor shooters, and there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with running around in a corridor blasting the shit out of Nazis or aliens or demons or demon Nazis or alien Nazis or just shoot the shit out of random villains. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's a fundamentally different core gameplay than what you would have in a more structured, in an open-ended sandbox style thing. Now, Crow Team, if you play the Serious Sound games, are like that. Like you might be in a corridor, but then you go into a huge arena with lots of buildings and shit, and then you've got lots of shit coming at you. Okay, then you could do an open world game, but I don't trust it because that's not really their thing, and I don't really want to be a test subject while they work it out and perfect it. Then we have Wolfenstein Youngblood, where you kill Nazis in an alternate future. Any game that lets you just kill Nazis is, in my opinion, pretty damn
It's
awesome.
not bad.
Yeah, because fuck Nazis. So anyway, we get Orion, which is a new streaming tech being worked on Bethesda, aiming to bolster Google Stadia and Microsoft's Project xCloud by focusing on software solutions for streaming, which is basically just coding. But let's be honest, would you trust Bethesda's coding?
No.
I mean,
After what they pulled off with Fallout 76,
you mean everything, not Fallout 76. Everything that Bethesda comes out with.
I was saying with the recent showing of Fallout 76 being an example of how they're going to do it in the future, oh God, no.
I wouldn't trust them to wipe their own ass with a whole roll of toilet paper, much less coding. So no, I don't. Yeah, I don't trust it. I guess this is coding to help their shitty ass games work on Google Stadia and Microsoft's xCloud, because it can't be to help other games work well on Project xCloud. The Elder Scrolls Online hyped up its Elsewhere expansion, where you can go to Elsewhere. I guess that's cool. Commander Keen is being rebooted as a free-to-play mobile game from ZeniMax. So if you're someone who grew up watching Commander Keen or playing those games, well, it's been fucked over by Bethesda. I don't know when they bought Commander Keen, because last time I checked, Commander Keen was owned by Epic. They must have sold it to Keen. I mean, they must have sold it to Bethesda. Oh well. Elder Scrolls Legends is getting a new expansion, Moons of Elsewhere, coming to the card game on June 27th. Is anyone still playing that shit? I guess so. They're still making content for it. So there you go. Let's see what else. Let's see the games. So that was Ubisoft.
See, we covered EA, Square, Ubisoft, and now Bethesda. So we're left with Microsoft.
No, we got to do the PC gaming show, and then we'll do Microsoft
and Digital Revolver.
We'll do Sony, Microsoft, and the big N. But let's do the PC gaming show first. Let me put their thing. The PC gaming show shouldn't be that difficult.
That's the only reason why I'm giving Bethesda an F is because they really ruined a childhood memory for me.
Yeah, I'm giving Bethesda an F as well because of Fallout 76. Like how they basically went on stage and made jokes about how shoddily that game was put together and put out, and acted like it was nothing at all instead of legitimately coming out and apologizing for the shit that they pulled. And that's a problem because like when you fuck up, you need to acknowledge it. Or at least, like, you don't need to apologize, but at least acknowledge we fucked up. Like, even the Nintendo president, he's like, yeah, our online needs to be better. We need to fix that. Like, when you fuck up, when Satoru Iwata was alive and Nintendo fucked up, he acknowledged it. Only in the West do you fuck up and then you try to either laugh it off or blame people who had nothing to do with it.
Or worse yet, blame your fans.
Yeah, well, the fans didn't like it, so, So basically, so let's talk about it. Rebellion Software showed off their sequel to Evil Genius, an old strategy game that was basically kind of like Dungeon Master, except instead of it being like set in a fantasy world, it's modern, and you're basically a James Bond villain. And they're making a sequel, which I'm quite happy about, because any game where I can basically capture a super spy and tie him down to a table and have a laser about to cut him in half, and role play being Blofeld from Goldfinger. You expect me to talk? No, I expect you to die. Now to walk away while I leave you in this room alone. Okay. And next we have the gameplay footage. They actually showed gameplay footage. The Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which, I mean, it's Vampire the Masquerade. Hell, it's coming back. And next we have Starmancer, which is apparently kind of like Dwarf Fortress, but in space. Dwarf Fortress is kind of like a roguelike game where you die a lot and you restart, and I guess you carry over your achievements from game to game, but it's always kind of like that. Then they have a sequel to Chivalry 2. The Chivalry called Chivalry 2, but it's an Epic exclusive, so I don't know how well it'll do, but Chivalry is this multiplayer skirmish game where it's kind of gory, but it's got a sense of humor about it, so I guess that's cool. I'm not talking about smartphone games. They're on here, but I'm not talking about them. There's also Midnight Ghost Hunt, which is apparently a kind of violent hide and seek game. Unexplored 2, which is the sequel to Unexplored, which from what I heard is actually a pretty good game, but never played it. Let's see. There's also Age of Wonders Planetfall, which Age of Wonders is kind of like an RPG strategy game, but this one is set in a sci-fi future, so that might be more interesting. So I guess that's cool. There's a new Sniper Elite game spinoff coming out. where you get to kill undead Nazis. So I guess that's cool. They also have Remnant from the creators of the Darksiders franchise. There's a new IP coming out from them called Remnant from the Ashes. It's a co-op third-person shooter. So this is why they couldn't make a new Darksiders. They were busy making a co-op third-person shooter. This is exciting. Clay Entertainment, the people who made Shank 2, Shadow the Ninja, they're making Griftwords, which is kind of like a deck-building RPG game. And unfortunately, it's an Epic Store exclusive. So, you know, if you want to play that game, you're probably going to have to get it either on console or the Epic Store.
Are most of these games in the PC Gaming Show Epic Game Stores exclusive?
No. I will mention if it's Epic Game Store exclusive for the time being, because normally there's like a year or 6 month thing going on. Planet Zoo is from the Frontier developers, and it's from the same people as Planet Coaster, but you're running a zoo instead of an amusement park. I guess that's cool. Yu Suzuki, the creator of Shenmue, is finally giving people details about the upcoming release of Shenmue 3 and telling everyone that it's an exclusive to the Epic Game Store, and it's coming out November 19th. So if you care, there you go, folks. I never drank the Shenmue is a good game coffee Kool-Aid, so like I didn't give a fuck about the original Shenmue. I played it, beat it, and I don't give a fuck about that game. And I damn sure don't give a fuck about Shenmue 2. So you know I give less than a shit about Shenmue 3. Let's see. Vermintide 2 is getting an expansion. For those of you who don't know what Vermintide is, it's basically the Left 4 Dead formula, except instead of you fighting zombies, it's set in the Warhammer universe, like the fantastical medieval Warhammer universe. So you're fighting like Skaven, which are rat people, chaos worshippers, barbarians. You know, it's medieval, low fantasy, mid-grade fantasy Left 4 Dead. And it's getting an expansion. Let's see, what else? Let's see, we're getting Per Aspera, which is from Raw Fury. I'm not familiar with the studio, but apparently it's a game where you have to terraform the world, the Mars itself, which sounds like an interesting game, depending on what the gameplay could be. Ancestors of the Humankind Odyssey is coming out. It's about evolution of humanity. There's an auto chess game, which is kind of
weird.
The interesting thing about that is that it's based on a mod for Defense of the Ancients, and I'm like, that's still a thing. So they showed off some Borderlands 3 stuff, a new expansion for Terraria. Warframe is getting some new stuff. There's a game called El Hijo, which follows the story of a 6-year-old who basically is in the Wild West, who basically has to go on a journey to find his mother. And it's set in the Wild West, so it should be really violent, but because it's a little kid, he uses tricks and traps and shit to get around and stealth. So then the big thing was Baldur's Gate 3. That's right, folks. Baldur's Gate 3. Lorien Studios, who's been basically essentially for all intents and purposes, they've been auditioning for Baldur's Gate 3 for years now, and they finally get to make it. So there you go. Grades for the PC. Well, I don't think you guys watch the PC gaming show, so I guess I'll give my grade for it. It's a C. Kudos for information on some of the games, but Epic just put a pall over the whole thing. Last year they got a B, and the year before that it was an A because they were trying to revitalize PC gaming to bring it to the main market, or at least get people to realize that PC gaming is an option. But this year Epic just fucked it up for everybody. So, like literally, if it was a pool party, someone shit in the pool and it's a floater. And then the person who did it was Epic. Thanks a lot, Epic. So there you go. So now we can get to Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. So let's get Sony out the way first.
Absolute zero, since they didn't show up for anything.
They get an F because they didn't show up. They had to give a presentation and they didn't show up. If you had to give a report for class and you didn't show up the day the report was due, you get an F. Fuck off. And no makeups, no redos. F.
Only way that you could recover from that is if you have a doctor's appointment that happened on that day. And even I think they have that stunt.
My teacher, the school I went to, even if you had a doctor's appointment, you would either have to do your report early or work it out with your teacher. But just saying, well, I had a doctor's appointment didn't count because that could be used as an excuse as well. So no, Sony, this year's E3, you get an F. Now fuck off.
I said zero.
No. Yeah, technically, yeah, but that's still an F. That's the lowest F you can get. It's like you didn't even get a score. So there you go, Sony. So I guess we can move on to Microsoft.
Very funny.
Microsoft E3 conference recap. So let's see here. Trying to get all the stuff. Trying to get all the stuff I need to get, and because I accidentally turned off the shit because I'm insane like that.
It happens.
Okay, so basically, the big thing here is Microsoft finally released their new stuff, and basically, let's talk about their new console that's coming out next year.
One thing I have to say is, how is 120 frame rates per second gonna work?
Not to mention, you can't even see 120 frames per second. So really, why the fuck spend the time and energy to do that? The new Xbox Scarlet is 4 times stronger than the Xbox One X. No one gives a shit. It's a dick measuring contest in which no one's gonna win. And Halo Infinite is an Xbox Scarlet launch title.
That's coming to Xbox One PC.
Yeah. So here's okay. I'll tell you my problem with the Xbox conference at the end, because all this talk about specs and power and all that shit doesn't matter. So, but we'll get to that at the end. So the Halo Infinite trailer, and there's the Halo Infinite trailer hid codes for the game, and Halo Infinite is going dark until E3 2020. And Halo Infinite is releasing on the Scarlet, the Xbox One, and the PC. And I hope this Scarlet doesn't mean Scarlet for when this thing fucks up and its new red light of death is going to be Scarlet. So then From Software's game collaboration with George R.R. Martin is officially announced, and it's called Elden Ring. It's an open world Dark Souls game, basically. And it's got George R.R. Martin helped consult, so that means everyone will die, and there's probably going to be some incest and murder in it. So there you go, folks. You basically get the one good, essentially, Game of Thrones game. The one good one. Then you get Project xCloud. For $5 a month, it launches in October, but for $5 a month, you get access to the huge library of Microsoft games that Microsoft still has some type of hold on. So there you go.
And we got some Cyberpunk 2077 footage and a cinematic trailer, which stars Keanu Reeves.
I'm not finished yet. We still have two things to get to before we get there.
Okay.
The Outer Wilds release date and trailer. The release date is October 25th, so like a week before Halloween. So it's coming to PC and consoles, but PC is a PC exclusive. It's for the Epic Game Store. Hopefully, the Epic Game Store will be better than it is right now, where they have money to spend for exclusives, but they can't fix their shitty ass store. There's a new Xbox One Elite controller. I guess that's cool. Cyberpunk 2077 has Keanu Reeves in it, so I guess that's cool since he was in Johnny Mnemonic and The Matrix.
And there was a French gaming journalist website that mistook him for Shigeru Miyamoto and posted a quote unquote rumor that Miyamoto will be appearing on stage at Microsoft's E3 conference.
How the fuck do you confuse Keanu Reeves with Shigeru Miyamoto? That's the thing. Like, they look nothing alike.
I know.
Like, you can't even confuse, like, literally you can't confuse. Like, Keanu Reeves has a full beard and he's like 6'3", 6'2", like he's really tall. Shigeru Miyamoto is short. He doesn't look short, but he really is kind of short.
Plus he has gray hair.
Well, I mean, he's got some gray hair, but I mean, it's like you can't confuse the two. Like, I don't know how you, man. And people like to say that all black people look alike. Whatever. And then there's Gears 5 is coming out sometime September 10th. It is what it is. Borderlands 2 DLC was announced that ties into Borderlands 3, I guess. Forza Horizon 4 is coming out with DLC, and guess who they're crossing it over with?
Lego.
That's right, folks. Lego. So now you can race now you can have the joy of racing cars and of racing arcade racing game being crossed over with Legos, because those two things go together. Actually, they don't. I'm being facetious. Here's some good news. Phantasy Star Online 2 is coming to the West. It's going to be on Xbox and PC. Sony's left out of it. So, I mean, you know, I'm kind of happy about that. I've been wanting to play Phantasy Star Online 2 for a long time, so it'll be on PC, so you can play it if you don't want to buy an Xbox to play it, which I'm not. Ninja Theory's coming out with a new game, Bleeding Edge. I mean, it's another Ninja Theory game, so there's Minecraft Dungeon. Microsoft bought Double Fine. So there you go. They showed a new trailer for Psychonauts 2. Every time I see a trailer for this game, it looks so fucking awesome. Battlefield's trailer. We don't know when the game's coming out, but the game, for what I saw from the trailer looks like ass to me. But I know some people are going to be blinded by nostalgia. And of course, Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition is coming out. So all the DLC plus up-res graphics.
You also got the Dragon Ball Z action RPG trailer.
I couldn't get excited about that.
And the Gears of War Funko Pop mobile game.
Yeah, I couldn't get excited about that either. So, who wants to give Microsoft their grade? A, B, C, D, F?
C minus. I could at least see where they're coming from.
All right.
I wouldn't just give them a regular B.
Dragon?
Probably F plus because the moves that they've been making, it's pretty much supporting that they will probably end up becoming third party.
Yeah, I'm giving them an F as well. Now, before anyone says, "How can you give Microsoft an F? You liked hearing what they said." Here's my problem with Microsoft. Okay, when you have a conference, the car show, the airplane show, the RV show, the whole purpose of these shows is to get people excited about your product so that they will buy it in the future. Your product, your hardware. Okay. Now, the problem with Microsoft is that none of the games they announce are exclusive to the Xbox. None of them. They will also be coming to PC. So why the fuck are they not more vigorously trying to get people to buy their Xbox? Because the Xbox as a brand has failed. So basically, they're trying to obfuscate what the Xbox brand is by saying, well, it's also going to be on the xCloud and Xbox Games Pass Plus and all this shit. And I'm like, look, just admit the Xbox failed. You're going third party now. Just admit it. Just be like, look, it didn't work out. We're going third party. We're a publisher now. I would have much more respect for Microsoft if they just said we're a publisher now and stop wasting people's time with their bullshit. Just saying.
It would just leave Sony and Nintendo, but
yeah,
still.
but I mean, like, here's the thing: Microsoft has not shown that they can compete in this industry. They haven't. Okay, the original, the gen they came in on in 2000 was the 6th gen. They fucked up. They failed. Then the second, the 7th gen, Xbox 360 started out strong, but then the Red Ring of Death thing, and people forget that when the Red Ring of Death first happened, they spent the greater part of that year fighting people because they didn't want to replace the shoddy shit that they put out. Okay, and people forgot that, and I didn't. Like, that's one of the reasons I did not get an Xbox 360. So, I mean, Microsoft, and then, we don't need to talk about what happened during the 8th gen with the Xbox One. So, like, 3 gens, Microsoft has fucked up every single one of them. Do you really trust them with a 4th one? I mean, I don't. So, at this point, it's clear to me that Microsoft is positioning themselves to gracefully exit the console market. And I say good riddance to bad rubbish because, I mean, Microsoft as a console manufacturer has been a turd sitting in the pool. And it needs to be gotten rid of as a console manufacturer. Now, as a publisher, they can publish as much shit as they want. I don't care. But as a console manufacturer, I'm tired of the Xbox fanboys. I'm tired of the Xbox community. I'm tired of the Xbox. I'm tired of Japanese companies putting Japanese JRPGs on Xbox and then acting surprised when it flops spectacularly because no fucking Japanese gamer would fucking buy an Xbox to play Japanese games. Are you fucking stupid? And I know that's a lot of fucks in one phrase, but it needed to be said. So, yeah, they get an F. So fuck them. So now we can get into Nintendo.
Sorry, that was the sound of relief.
No, this is the sound of relief. Zip. That's the sound of relief. But anyway, or the best relief is when you've eaten something that was not good for you and it gave you gas and no one's around and you just let it go Or even better when this is getting a little raw, but when you're by yourself and you've got a butt like inside your butt itch and no one's around and you just like fuck it and you just scratch it and you're just like it's just very comforting. It's just like you don't care. There's no one around. It's great.
It's
Anyway,
satisfaction.
So we'll skip the biggest one, which is the big one at the end first. But let's get to the Smash things first. So we get two. They introduced the last two Smash characters thus far.
Actually, they introduced characters 2 and 3.
Yeah, we might get another one. So basically, we get the hero from Dragon Quest. So you can be like apparently the like you know how you can change the colors of your characters in Smash Brothers. Well, the colors for the hero changes the type of hero you have. So you can be the hero from Dragon Quest 11. You can be the hero from Dragon Quest 8. You can be the hero from Dragon Quest 4. The hero
In short,
from Dragon Quest
are generally different.
3. Yeah. So I mean, it's cool. You can be the Dragon Quest hero that you most affiliate with. I don't like Dragon Quest 11 that much, and I think the hero looks like a Nancy boy, so I don't really like him that much. But
thank goodness there's 3 more flavors.
That Dragon Quest hero from 8, though, he's pretty badass. And then they brought back the character who should have been there. And I remember everyone was insane. They were like, "No, man, it's not going to happen. It's going to be Minecraft Steve." Fuck Minecraft Steve. First of all, that's not even his name. And second of all, Minecraft Steve hasn't earned the right to be in Smash Brothers. You know who earned the right to be in Smash Brothers? Banjo-Kazooie.
And the reveal trailer couldn't be even more perfect. It brought me tears of joy. Tears of joy.
I wasn't really crying because when I saw that puzzle piece, that gold puzzle piece, I was like, it's Banjo from Banjo-Kazooie. It's Banjo-Kazooie because
I missed that, by the way, on my first viewing.
Yeah, as soon as I saw the puzzle piece, I'm like, oh yeah, it's Banjo from Banjo-Kazooie. Because I mean, that's the only. It's so iconic, and for people who grew up in that 5th gen, you know Banjo-Kazooie very well.
I missed it because I actually thought that was a coin.
Nah, man, that was a puzzle piece. So anyway, yeah, Banjo-Kazooie coming to Smash Brothers makes sense. He deserves to be there.
And they did the best way possible by stomping the dog.
And DK and Diddy Kong and King K. Rool were like losing their shit because they're like, our brother came home.
And they even brought back Grant Kirkhope to rearrange the Banjo-Kazooie soundtrack.
So I'm going to tell you right now, folks, this is the best you're going to enjoy Banjo because don't trust Rare or Microsoft to do shit with it since after this.
I was about to say, isn't this what happened with Mega Man and Ryu?
Well, Mega Man, Ryu, and Pac-Man. Smash. So this was the first time that Nintendo literally unzipped their pants, pulled out their dick, and slapped everyone in the face with it twice.
Especially the one that didn't show up.
Especially Sony. But they even slapped Microsoft a little bit because no one Microsoft had Banjo-Kazooie for years and no one gives a shit while they had them. And then Nintendo does this like, oh shit, Banjo's back. Which tells you that Rare is shit these days. Like I don't want to hear anyone say, well, you know, Microsoft Rare is shit. Don't even defend that shit.
I was gonna say, whoever says Rare is better with Microsoft, they need a Shingoku Setsu up there. Ow!
Yeah, basically, yeah.
According to Phil Spencer, the negotiations to put Banjo-Kazooie in Smash was pretty easy.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what Phil Spencer has to say. Literally, I just don't give a fuck.
I was about to say, Phil Spencer, the same Phil Spencer that, if I remember right, sunk Sega.
No, that was someone else. Phil Spencer's a lying sack of shit. That's what Phil Spencer is. Because Phil Spencer says things and then it comes out and it's like it's bullshit. So yeah.
I was trying to be sure I know who I was talking about.
No,
because
that's the guy you're talking about is shit. I know it's not Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer is the guy who's he's the guy who's running the Xbox division right now. Before him, it was Don Matrick. Don Matrick was we have a product for people like that. It's called the Xbox 360. I was like, man, you ain't gonna be there for long. And I'll be damned. A month after that, he was fired.
Yep.
So yeah, Dragon Quest XI Definitive Edition is coming out for the Switch. I guess it's a Switch exclusive. So it's got a lot of awesome, cool shit coming in. I think this is going to be Square Enix's big holiday game this year because they don't have shit else coming out this year that's really going to hype people up. And I mean, I'm just waiting for Square Enix to fuck this up because that's what they do. They take awesome things and they fuck it up. The Luigi's Mansion sequel.
Hotel Luigi.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Although, I mean, I wish they would give you the option I hope they give you the option in the game where Luigi's just like, you know what? Fuck all this shit. From now on, it's the Super Luigi. It's the Super Luigi series, and I'm done. He just leaves there. He's like, I'm running this shit now. I'm the captain now. Give us that option. It would be cool. Yeah, looks exciting. I'm not the biggest Luigi's Mansion fan. I played all of them, I beat all of them, but I'm not like, oh my god, it's the best series ever. But it looks interesting. Seiken Densetsu 3 Remake is being rebranded as Trials of Mana, and it's being remade. And
it looks better than the Secret of Mana remake from the PS4.
Yeah, but let's be honest. I mean, I've flushed things down the toilet that look better than the Secret of Mana remake on the PS4 or PC. So that's not a high bar to go over. You know what I mean? That's not a high bar to clear. As a matter of fact, that's a very low bar to clear. That's literally like the bar was put on the floor and you just have to go over it. Limbo, the bar was put on top of your house between two houses and you just had to walk underneath it. It's not a high bar to clear. Not a low bar to clear. So Seiken Densetsu 3, sorry, we already covered that. And then they showed off Link's Awakening, the remake. And, you know, the art style, when I first saw it, looked a little shitty to me. I guess they polished it up a little bit because it's really reminding me of a reimagining of Link's Awakening, and it brought a smile to my face, returning back to Koholint Island. So, you know, I'll probably get this game, and it looks awesome. The extra shit that they added, I guess they don't need the color dungeon anymore because, you know, everything's in color anyway. So they added the dungeon maker mode where you can make your own dungeons, and that seems cool. They even brought back Dampy. I don't know what Dampy's doing on Koholint Island, but fuck it, it's a dream. Why not? Don't ask too many questions. Hopefully they'll also have Toad as Mambo, so he can do his Mambo's Mambo to bring things to life. They also released a story trailer for Fire Emblem for Three Houses.
And they pretty much confirmed the leak that there's going to be a mid-game time skip.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like, the way I feel about it is I'm just like, eh. Like, here's the thing. I'm a bit Fire Emblemed out after all the other Fire Emblems. And I need a break from Fire Emblem. So, I mean, even though this game looks really interesting, I need a break from Fire Emblem for a while. So, I probably won't get it at launch. I'll probably wait once it's down the line. But it looks interesting. So next we have 2 more Resident Evil games coming from Capcom. I would be excited, except these probably are going to be some overpriced bullshit. So, And then we had Nintendo unzip their pants and dick slap people again because people said that No More Heroes, the little spin-off game that was made, bombed on the Switch. And my only thing is, if it bombed on the Switch, why is the game being announced? The real No More Heroes 3 being announced for the Switch. That's right, folks. And here's the thing. Even before I saw the character in the trailer turn into Travis Touchdown, when I heard the voice, I'm like, that's Travis from Touchdown. And I'll be goddamn if I was right. No More Heroes 3. Dick slap. Right in the face.
Wonder if they're going to announce a re-release of the first two No More Heroes games for newcomers to catch up.
That'd be cool. Or you could somehow go and get those two games. I mean, they're on the Wii. I mean, you can probably find them for cheap on Amazon or some shit. I didn't get rid of mine, so I still have mine. But yeah, No More Heroes, a great game. It's a Suda 51 game. That's all I can really say. Hopefully, they will continue those motion controls when you got to power up your beam saber. Well, if you're a man, you should be familiar with how to power up your beam saber.
Enough said.
Well, with that being said, hopefully they'll bring back Shinobu and Henry. Of course, we know that what's her name? Sylvia is still in the game. And she's really good at playing with cherries. So with that being said, Daemon X Machina gets a release date. It's coming out September 13th. That game looks really interesting. I'll probably get it. Then we have a Panzer Dragoon remake. I guess it's being remade from the ground up from developer Forever Entertainment Megapixel Studio. So it looks really cool. And I mean, I'm not a huge Panzer Dragoon fan. I know some people really love it. I can take it or leave it. But for those of you who are, boom, you're getting it on the Switch, bitches. I think it's also going to be a multi-plat, but it's on the Switch too. Then you get a new Contra game being announced. See, everyone kept on saying, man, Konami sucks. Konami sucks. Konami sucks.
So I'm seeing people really ticked off that this new Contra game is a sequel to the PS1 games, aka the bad Contra game.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Sometimes the technology is what holds something back. Like, okay, everyone kept on saying you can't make a 3D Castlevania game, right?
Right.
Can't make a 3D Castlevania game. But if you play Darksiders, especially the first Darksiders, it's essentially a 3D Castlevania game, but it works. You know what I mean? So, it's like sometimes the technology is what's holding you back. It's not that it can't be done. It's just the technology isn't there yet to really make it work. You know? So that's what I'm thinking when it comes to those Contra games. I think had the technology been better, it could have worked, but the technology wasn't there yet. Plus, the best Contra games were made by the people who would eventually become Treasure. So, I mean, like a lot of those people when those 3D pseudo 3D Contra games came out, a lot of those people were gone. And the people you had who took over didn't really understand what Contra was about, trying to make a Contra game. So that's a problem. But yeah, the game is called Contra Rogue Core. It's got like a traditional character, a panda with a gun, a chick who's been fused with a fucking alien, and just a straight up alien. And it looks awesome. It looks so fucking awesome.
It's WTF before anything else.
Like it brought a smile to my eye because it has some of the classic. It has remixes of classic Contra music. I hope it has the streets of Neo City in there because it's just. It seems like as soon as Konami was able to shit out the diarrhea called Hideo Kojima, they managed to get their mojo back. So and they also releasing the Contra Collection, which has. You're getting 10 Contra games plus their region differences. You're getting Contra Arcade. You're getting Contra for the NES, Contra for the Famicom, Super Contra in the NES, Contra 3, the Alien Wars. That's my favorite. Contra Hardcore. Some people love it. I think it's a little too hard. But if you play the Japanese version, it's better. Operation C for Game Boy and Probotector. And the Probotector, which is the European version of Contra 3, and the Japanese version of Hardcore. So I mean, it's not really 10 games, it's more like 7, but I mean, the Japanese region differences are big enough. And of course, you know, even more, the new Ultimate Alliance 3 trailer. This is the Marvel game I'm actually excited about. Like, fuck whatever Square Enix is coming out with. This shit is gonna be the shit. Because it's got Luke Cage. Well, I don't really like Miles Morales that much, but it's got Peter Parker as Spider-Man. It probably might have skins for the Scarlet Spider for Peter Parker, where you can be Ben Reilly. It's got the X-Men. It's got the Fantastic Four. Like everything you like about Marvel is in this game. Boom shakalaka, come at me, bro. And it's a pseudo RPG, so there you go. Yeah. So here's some of the heroes and villains that'll be in the game. You get Hela, Surtur, Magneto, who somehow gets his hands on the Reality Infinity Stone. Miles Morales, Dr. Octopus, aka Doc Ock. Ghost Rider, Elektra, Kamala Khan, Gwen Stacy. I don't really like Gwen Stacy. I don't like Spider because you know, Gwen Stacy should have stayed dead. It's important that she's one of the impetuses that makes Spider-Man who he is, and it's good that she's dead. I know it's an alternate reality Gwen Stacy, but fuck it. Thor, Scarlet Witch, Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Avengers. It also has the Black Order's main antagonists, so the Black Order and Thanos, who's wearing his original comic book look and not, you know, the Marvel Cinematic Universe look, which is great because this game is embracing the fact that this shit is comic book based, not movie based. Thank God. There's also an expansion pass where you get additional playable characters. You get the Marvel Knights, which is, if I remember correctly, Marvel Knights are like the more mature, darker versions of classic Marvel characters. X-Men and the Fantastic Four. So, boom, right there. The one downside of this thing, in my opinion, was that we're getting another Mario Sonic at the Olympic Games.
And this one's getting a lot of attention because of Eggman. This is the first time he's being shown shirtless and barefoot.
I just don't care because I don't like Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. So, you know, but if you really want it, there you go. It's coming. Spyro Reignited trilogy is coming, but only the first game is on the cart. The rest have to be downloaded. So, for people who say they want physical only, we're moving to an age where it's becoming less and less relevant that it be physical only because they're not even putting all of the data on the cartridge or disc. So, what's the fucking point? Nintendo's Cadence of Hyrule, which is it's basically like Crypt of the Necrodancer, except it's spliced with The Legend of Zelda. So, I mean, I'm not really a big Crypt of the Necrodancer. I don't like rhythm-based games mixed with other shit, unless it's Paw Rapper the Rapper, because that game's fucking awesome.
We're also getting Alien Isolation.
Yeah, Alien Isolation, which if I didn't already have that game, I probably wouldn't care, but Animal Crossing for the Switch was delayed, but it has a name. So, yeah. The Witcher 3 is coming to the Switch. I'm just going to tell you right now.
Don't get excited.
It looks like shit in handheld mode. It's 540p in handheld mode. And in docked mode, it's like 720p, so still kind of shitty. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily ecstatic with joy about how shitty that game looks. I mean, it's cool that you're getting all that content. That if you haven't played The Witcher 3, it's great that you're getting all this. It's a little overpriced for me because you can get The Witcher 3 on PC for like $15 right now. And if you know where to go, you can get it even cheaper for like $10, maybe even sometimes $7.50. So I know it's going to be overpriced on the Switch, and I know they did a lot of work coding it down and getting it on a Switch cart. But fuck, that's for how shitty it looks. It just It is what it is. Astral Chain looks interesting. I'm looking forward to getting the game. I know some people are going to be like, I don't give a shit, but it looks interesting. Pokemon Sword and Shield.
They introduced us another gym leader, and boy, oh boy, is she hot.
Yeah. It's Pokemon Sword and Shield. It works with the Pokeball Plus, and if you get a new Pokeball Plus and register it with the game, you'll get Mew, which I think kind of breaks the game if you get Mew.
There's a bigger problem there, and I'm going to say this right now. Since every Pokeball only has one Mew, if you register it to the
if you register a new one, if you register one that hasn't been registered already to Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go
Pikachu,
new one, you get Mew. If you already registered it, you already got Mew. So, I mean, personally, if you look, personally, I think it's a waste to have Mew in Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. I would have saved it for this game, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Well, about that, Mew's not as overpowered as it used to be back in the older gens.
It can learn any Pokemon move.
Yeah,
any of them, and its special stat is insanely high.
Yeah, but we got some new Pokemon that gave it more competition to the point where it dropped down to mid-tier status.
It can learn. Well, it's an insanely powerful psychic type. I mean, yes, technically speaking, it's not quite as good as Mewtwo, but
and
it's still
got
pretty damn useful.
I was going to say, and it has one number throughout all the stats, meaning that it needs a nature in order and IVs to be altered in order to change it.
You teach that motherfucker hard-boiled, soft-boiled to heal your team. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going back. And of course, the final dick slap that Nintendo did at this year's E3. The final is like, oh, you think you're done? No more. Stop slapping me in the face with your dick, Nintendo. And Nintendo's like, I got one more thing.
Well, one game, another game is starting to come into its light.
And they are making a sequel to Breath of the Wild. So the final dick slap was the sequel to Breath of the Wild. Now,
and according to Gianuma, it's going to be much darker than Majora's Mask.
What I saw from that little bit, I say they just made me say, what the F am I looking at?
I mean, Legend of Zelda has never really been all that
horrifying.
No, it was never all that. Like, you play Legend of Zelda and you think that it's this kiddie game, but when you think about the implications of what's actually going on, it's never been like sunshine and rainbows. Like, it's always been kind of dark. So
and I wanted to know whose lifeless corpse was that? Is it Ganondorf or the game's new villain?
I don't know, but he was not in good shape.
And there's also a possibility that Zelda might be playable since she has a new haircut. And you know, Nintendo being lazy with their hair physics, not wanting to go around with the long hair physics for playable characters in their adventure games.
I don't know about that, but here's 3 things I need from this sequel. Number 1, I'm gonna need real dungeons in this game and not just some shit that you threw together. Number 2, I'm gonna need if you want to keep the breakable weapons thing, I'm gonna need a way to repair them and not just well, you can find some more shit. Pardon me. And finally, I'm also going to need let's see what else. Lost my train of thought. Oh yes, I'm gonna need some real tools because the 4 rooms you get was just fucking lazy. Yes, they're like, oh, it's so cool. Look, Breath of the Wild felt like a big tech demo for how they could get that physics engine to work. I think they've gotten that down. I don't really want to play another huge tech demo. There needs to be an advancement on the tech demo at this point. So I could we bring back some more traditional Legend of Zelda tropes, like, you know, actual tools in dungeons that you can use? Be cool, you know, hook shot, awesome. Yes, the glider was interesting, but it kind of broke Breath of the Wild because it made a lot of other forms of transportation fucking useless. Like, why should I use a horse that can't even swim or go across? Like, you know, if I try to go up here, the surface too sheer. Or I can just basically use this glider and just glide wherever the fuck I need to go. Kind of a waste. So hopefully they'll fix that. But overall, very, very excited about all of this. I think it's going to be awesome. And looking forward to all of it. So with that being said, let's give Nintendo their grade.
A-.
I'm giving them an A.
All right, Pinky.
I said before, I give them an A.
Sorry, not Pinky. Dragon.
I may be the odd one out. B-.
All right. Guess I gotta give them. I give them an A. And the reason I give them an A is because Nintendo, like, all the games they showed were either exclusive to the Switch or have, like, there's a reason to own them on the Switch, except for The Witcher 3, which I'm like, why the fuck would you have that on the Switch? Whatever. But aside from that, I mean, in terms of, like, the best way to play the game, like, you know, playing it on the go on the Switch doesn't really seem like a viable option to me. But everything else, it's like, oh, that's a good reason to own that game that way. More often than not, and a lot of exclusives, giving you reasons to buy the console, to grow the install base. So yeah, for me, total an A. Not an A+, but an A. This could change if by Saturday, once we've seen all the Treehouse stuff and they've explained a lot of stuff. But right now, it's tentatively an A. So, anything else you guys want to add before we wrap things up? Because we've covered. This is part one. We haven't covered all the Treehouse stuff because, you know, it's like once all the Treehouse stuff, it'll be 18 hours of stuff. And there's no way on God's green earth that we could do a podcast in 2 hours covering 18 hours of shit in this podcast, and also covering the conferences. So it makes sense to just instead wait till it all comes out, then it's recapped, and then do it on Saturday. So anything else you guys?
I have something to say. So now that we have 3 announced DLC fighters for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, that only leaves 2 more unknown characters from the Fighters Pass. And now that we know that Western third-party characters are allowed, that means I'm hoping that one of those 2 last DLCs is going to be Doom Guy.
Who? What Western third-party characters allowed? Who?
Oh, because
Banjo-Kazooie.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, but to be fair, that's a technicality, because think about it. On what console? When did Banjo-Kazooie began his life on the N64? That's a Japanese console. From Rare, that at the time was a second-party studio. Like, seriously, no one gives a shit about Banjo-Kazooie since he was at Microsoft. So that's a moot point. And if any Western character deserved to be in Smash Brothers, like Earthworm Jim over Doom Guy. Although Doom Guy is a close second. Or even better than Doom Guy, Duke Nukem. Take it, baby.
I was also thinking Scorpion, but Mortal Kombat has been banned in Japan for for the
too
last
much.
few years.
Yeah, that's too much. Mortal Kombat's too much, but I get what you're saying. So yeah. Anything else anyone wants to say here? Let me look at the comment section, see if anyone has any. Oh shit, a whole bunch of shit in here. Luke Cage is just the icing on the cake. That is true. When I saw Luke Cage and it's like classic Luke Cage, I'm like, oh shit, Luke Cage, my man. I turned into Denzel Washington, my man. So can I say hello? The truth. Marvel Alliance is better than what I already said that. Marvel Alliance is basically like, oh shit. I don't give a shit about what Square Enix is coming out with. Marvel Ultimate, and plus it comes out this year. God, yes, please. Like, doesn't it come out in June? If I remember
It comes out next month.
Sorry, July. Doesn't it come out in July? Like July 10th, July 14th, something like that. And the game looked really close to being finished. Like, I think they just have to do a little bit more polishing up for the game. Which, I mean, this is what you use exclusives for. Basically, because the team doesn't have to split this shit out between multiple SKUs or software development SDK, software development kits. They can focus on one thing and make that one thing badass as fuck. I love it. Mario and Sonic was always an itch on my butt. I don't like Mario and Sonic. Like, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, it's not that it's bad. That's by itself. It's just, I mean, if you're going to do a crossover between Mario and Sonic, why a shitty Olympic game? And not even a real Olympic game. It's just a mini game collection. That bothers me. Yeah. The Witcher is 720p docked, which is, I mean, that's not bad. That's still HD, but The Witcher 3 is such a big scale game. I don't see the point of having it in such a diminished capacity on the Switch, especially the handheld mode, which is just it looks like ass. What?
Atrocious.
It looks real bad. I'm like, why? Like, people like, I mean, because here's the thing: the big selling point of the Switch is, oh, well, you can play your games on the go. But some games on the go look like shit. Like, especially The Witcher, like, it looks terrible on handheld mode. It's like, I gagged a little bit when I saw it. And look, I'm not trying to be a graphics whore, but some games are really like Xenoblade Chronicles X. I would not want to play that game on a Switch in handheld mode, because that game is so grand. Like, you can't play that, like, you know, on a little tiny thing that's all diminished and, you know, stuff like that. A+ gameplay. I mean, I'm not wild about The Witcher 3. I have it. I played it. I beat it. I'm not like, oh my god, this is the best game ever. It's okay. It's not really, like, people keep on calling it an RPG. It's not really an RPG. So Travis for Smash. Yeah, Travis Touchdown would be a cool character to have in Smash. Another Japanese character. I just would like to see him have, like, his beam saber meter, so, like, you can't use his attacks over and over again, because basically at a certain point his sword gets depowered, so then he's got to power it back up again. So the truth asked, did I miss the Xbox bashing? How did they manage to come out third at E3? They didn't come out third. They came out second, but it's still not that good. You know?
Talk about a downer.
Sony came out Sony got a 0 because they didn't even show up. They got a 0 because they didn't do shit. Because it's Sony and people love Sony. Sony can do no wrong except when they don't do shit. They just literally just sit there and waste people's time with bullshit. Because it's Sony and we'll do whatever we want to do because we're Sony. People love us because we're Sony.
Yeah.
But you haven't released anything worth playing. Well, fuck you. We're Sony.
Yeah, the moment I hear that line, I got something for them. A pair of middle fingers.
a double fu. but yeah, I'm not convinced that Sony like, and just to be honest, I don't think anything Sony could have released would have been
enough.
shown to make them like do well at this year's E3. And I know some people are going to be like, "How could you say that?" Well, it's my opinion. I'm allowed to have opinions.
One more thing to point out: it just Shenmue. It's been revealed that Shenmue 3's Kickstarter is gonna do not. Turns out that there will be no
game.
I can't hear what he's trying to say. Go ahead.
There will be no refunds for people who kickstarted Shenmue for Steam.
My question is, why is anyone surprised? Like, people seem to forget. This is the guy, Yu Suzuki is the guy who basically helped bankrupt Sega. Like, it's the reason why Sega lost so much money funding Shenmue. That's the reason they couldn't. That's the reason they couldn't do anything. That's the reason. That's part of the reason why they went bankrupt. It's like people don't understand these things. Like, and why would you trust him with money after he couldn't get his shit together? Like, he went grievously over budget, and I'm like, yeah, he's gonna go grievously over budget this time. And everyone's like, oh no, I'm not gonna say nothing. So, you know, and now he's screwing people over. So, not really surprised. Like.
And this is concerning because I know there are certain countries that have a law against refund denials.
Yeah, well, it is Yu Suzuki, so he is full of shit. So that being said, Xenoblade Chronicles X is amazing. I know it is. It's one of Xenoblade Chronicles X, in my opinion, is better than Xenoblade Chronicles 2 because X just was more ambitious than Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was. Like, you could tell that they were putting their heart and soul into it, whereas Xenoblade Chronicles 2 feels a lot safer. Not that it's a bad game, it just doesn't have the same ambition or scope that X did. And Sony knew they had nothing. Well, no, they spent all their money on Death Stranding. They gave all their budget. They gave their E3 budget to Hideo Kojima for Death Stranding.
No one's interested in the game.
I mean, it could be good, but I'm not trusting it. I mean, but then again, I don't trust Hideo Kojima. I think he's a talentless hack. So I'm not enthralled with Hideo Kojima. Like I said, I think he's a talentless hack, and I think the people who think that he's like, oh my god, he's so awesome. I'm like,
you guys need glasses.
He's a fraud. Okay, the man is a fraud. He's not He's creatively bankrupt, and he's overrated.
Just like the cult of Kojima.
So, I mean, I'm not saying he hasn't made good games. He just hasn't made a good game in a long time. Like, a very long time. Kojima hasn't made a good game in a very long time.
To the party.
Well, so, you guys, obviously, obviously, you guys talked about E3.
Yes, we did. Well, this is our part 1 coverage. So we only covered Nintendo. We only covered Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony. Sony got a 0 because they didn't even show up.
They got an incomplete. They didn't even turn in their test.
No, they got a 0. Yeah, because I mean, if you don't even show, if you have a paper due and you can't even be bothered to show up, then there's only one score we can give you.
So did you hear Sony's excuse why they didn't show up?
Because they're busy. Well, I know what excuse they might say, but I also know the truth of the situation.
Well, they said the excuse that E3 is not as viable as it used to, and if they had a show, they usually have a show at the beginning of the year, dictating their holiday plans, like a secret trade show or whatever. And also they believe that E3 is too late to convey holiday plans. So I don't know. It just seemed like a line. It seemed like PR to say, "Oh, we don't have anything this year. We can't."
Sounds like bullshit to me. The truth of the matter is that they spent all their money. They spent their money on Hideo Kojima's
Shenmue. I thought it was Shenmue 3 and
they didn't pay for Shenmue 3.
I think that was
kickstarted.
That was a Kickstarter.
Yeah. Now they did have Yu Suzuki come out and beg people for money, but
so one of the things I wanted to bring up was the Bethesda conference and how I feel that presentation was done in front of a live paid studio audience, because the way those people were cheering about stuff, I was like, there's no way. And I don't understand. Todd Howard has the gall to come out and say, it's been an exciting year for us this year, and I'm surprised you guys are all came here. Or I'm surprised you guys are all here.
But it is exciting. I mean, can you imagine how they fucked over? Can you imagine how they fucked over consumers?
What is Todd Howard? What does he do?
Good question.
He's the head of the Elder Scrolls studio. He also owns like 20-30% of the stock of Bethesda. Since Bethesda is a privately owned company, he doesn't have to answer any shareholders, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants. And as long as he continues to make money, no one cares. I'm surprised. So it was just amazing. Like every other thing that they said, they were like, "Yeah, woo!" Like it's like this isn't real.
Yeah, it's like a fantasy.
Drunk off whatever, or they're getting paid to cheer as loud as they can so they get a present at the end. They got that sign that says "cheer" on some of the shows.
The thing is that people believe the bullshit. Right?
No.
People believe the bullshit. But then again, this isn't the first time people have believed Bethesda's bullshit. People always believe Bethesda's bullshit. It's the problem with the video game industry. It's that Bethesda has proven that they cannot be trusted to make anything of quality. If they make an RPG, like Bethesda's games always have a caveat. It's like, well, they released a game, but it's really broken.
Another thing that drives me nuts, and I really noticed this year, is when these top speakers come and say, "This is like unlike anything you've ever seen before." It's starting to really drive me nuts.
Yeah, but in case of Bethesda games, it is, because I've never seen games that fucking broken that people still are like, "It's great."
The only thing good that came out of Bethesda was Doom Eternal. That game looks fun, but Square Enix, Final Fantasy VII, and then after that, I just stopped caring. The thing about Final Fantasy VII is people have to temper their expectations. I don't think this is going to be nearly as it's not going to be what you dreamed up it was going to be. You know, it's not going to be the dream remake of Final Fantasy VII. Your dream remake of Final Fantasy VII.
I don't think it is. Like, because they already said they're not remaking the game. It's like the best hits of Final Fantasy VII. It's not like, oh my god, this game has been remade from the ground up. It's not like Nintendo did with Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time or anything like that, where it was literally like a brand new game. This is not a brand new game.
Yeah.
Like it's not. I mean, it's not like it's not like the whole game. It's like bits and pieces of it's like bits and pieces of Final Fantasy VII, like the things you most remember. That's it. Which, I mean, seems like bullshit to me, because when someone says we're remaking a game, I assume that's the whole game, like not bits and pieces of the game being remade, you know?
Well, the thing is, I was watching Jim Sterling's video on Final Fantasy VII, and one of the things he said was the soundtrack. They kind of screwed up on the soundtrack because it's drowned out by, you know, all the orchestral stuff, and it kind of loses the charm. Loses the charm that the original soundtrack had.
Well, what happened was that the original soundtrack, RPGs back in the day did not have the best music. I mean, didn't have the best technology, graphical technology. So they had to use other shit like storytelling, character development, choice progression, gameplay, like stuff like that. It's the reason why old school RPGs are more memorable than the shit we have now.
But when you hear, you know, the orchestrated version of Chrono Trigger or the orchestrated version of the Zelda songs, I don't feel like
moved.
No, I don't feel like there's something lost in them. I feel that there's something gained in them.
Yeah.
And the Final Fantasy soundtrack, or some of the stuff you heard bits and pieces of stuff from the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack, but I feel like that there's something lost in translation.
Yeah, because you're trying to listen to that shit. While you're trying to listen to that shit, it's like you got to listen to the grunts and sounds of people fighting. It's like, and it loses a lot of its presence. Like this game is a remake, but it's not really a remake. It's soulless, it's tactless. It's being made because Square Enix realizes that they desperately need money.
Yeah, and the battle system looks like a mess. It looks like an absolute mess to me. It's like, oh, you have one part hack and slash, another part turn-based. It's like, why not just either make it hack and slash or turn-based? Or rather, why not just create a Xenoblade like
where time is a resource, so it's like it's a mix between the active time battle system and like back in the day, because that makes sense. And that's, I mean, Square Enix today doesn't do that. They just,
I mean, I figure it out sooner or later, but you know, it just looks like a mess on the screen. Just like, why not just pick one or the other, or create a system where it's essentially managing cooldowns, like Xenoblade.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where time is your, like, okay, in past RPGs, your resource was money, right? I mean, your resource was magic or TP or whatever. Well, I mean, basically, like Xenoblade, your resource is time. So you can't spam abilities. You have to wait for it to cool down. So time is your resource. And that's it's like the next generation of the active time battle system, where, you know, time is your resource you have to manage. Well, yeah. You know, that makes sense. And we can't have shit making sense around here, okay?
Yeah,
that takes talent, because the talent at Square Enix doesn't even work at Square Enix anymore. Like, the most talented people are gone. Is someone eating something? Because I can hear someone.
Sorry about that.
All right.
And Microsoft's conference, I like the Game Pass stuff. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I was going to give them a high score, but then I realized none of those games are exclusive to the Xbox. They're also going to be on PC. So why the fuck should I buy an Xbox when everything you have is just going to be on PC as well?
I like the fact that Game Pass is coming to PC. And I thought seeing Psychonauts 2, that was pretty cool. That game's still being made. And my biggest problem with the Xbox conference is the CGI Halo trailer at the end. That was kind of annoying. Apparently, that's supposed to be running on Scarlet. They've been pulling these tricks the past 15 years. Yeah, I'm getting kind of tired of it. But anyway, the Scarlet reveal, Project Scarlet. It's like to most of these people, all these numbers really mean anything. The average person, all these numbers don't really mean anything, or at least when they start spouting them off, they don't really know what they're talking about.
Well, the thing that gets me is they're all like, "Hey, this is going to be 120p." I'm like, first of all, you can't even see in 120p. So
120 FPS, right? So
not 120p, 120 FPS. You can't see in 120 FPS. So what's the point of putting resources? There's no point in putting resources in a game console to getting 120 FPS when you can't even see in 120 FPS.
Yeah, I like to know what resolution they're seeing this at, because it's not 4K. I mean, even some of the top of the line graphics cards can't run ultra settings 120 FPS at 4K.
Yeah, I mean,
we're starting to hit 60.
What they're probably doing is up-resing it or speeding up the frames or something, because it's gonna make it, if you put all that technology, it's gonna make it unnecessarily expensive, and then they're not even gonna use it technologically. It's not even gonna be used unless for the first-party game. And Microsoft hasn't proven that they make really good first-party games. Like I'm not gonna say they do, because they don't.
And I just thought the Scarlet thing was just felt a little vague, and I thought, I wish we would have seen some sort of hardware, whether that be a prototype or something. It's just like, there was a point in time where a console reveal was exciting, where it was kind of, what's going to happen next?
I mean, let's be honest. What Microsoft showed was not a console reveal. It was a gaming PC reveal, because the Scarlet is not a console. It's a gaming PC.
Yeah.
But none of these things are consoles. They're gaming PCs, and really bad gaming PCs, because I mean, you're spending a lot of money for shit you're probably not even going to really use. So.
It's just this thing can't exceed $500. That's for sure.
Oh well.
I know Sony. Apparently, it's theory that Sony has all the. Sony has the same stuff going on.
Yeah, because both of them are using AMD, and they're using the same chipset and architecture. So, it's like, really, what's the point?
What's the difference, right?
Yeah, if you're using the same shit as everybody else, what's the point? I don't see the point. I'm sorry. But anyway, let's see. Kojima was good when he had Namco developers. Let's see. No, I miss Sega versus Nintendo days. Mr. Red Fox, is Xbox that continues the Sega console? No, it is not. No. But first of all, okay, that's what Microsoft initially said when they got into the console industry. We learned everything we want to know about consoles from Sega. First of all, that's a bad thing to say, because Sega fucking sucked at running consoles. They were good at marketing their console. They weren't good at running a console division, because if they were, they'd still be making consoles, would they? Mm-hmm. Okay, they'd still be making consoles now. But they haven't, okay? They can't make consoles anymore, right? Sega okay, let me put it this way. All you Sega fanboys, Sega versus Nintendo, and who's better, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're putting your mainline games on your opponent's console, you lost. You're the bitch in this relationship, okay? All right? Mm-hmm. Okay, Sega lost, okay? And Kojima has his marks just like Vince Russo had his. But here's the thing: Kojima has good games. It's just like the games that he made that were good don't get the praise. Like Snatcher, Police Knots, that game where you Boktai, the sun is in your hands. Like he's made some good games. It's just his good games are overshadowed by his hyped games. Not that Metal Gear is bad. I'm going to be honest with you. I like the first two Metal Gear games. Not Metal Gear Solid, the first two Metal Gear games. So like Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 for the MSX. Those are good games. But the thing is, most people who say they're Metal Gear fans, they don't even know about those fucking games. They like Metal Gear Solid. And Konami was good when they had Namco developers. I mean, really, Konami was good Konami was good from the 3rd to the 4th to the 5th gen. No, to the 3rd and 4th gen, they were really good in their arcade games. Then once they started losing their best developers, like they lost the people who made Castlevania left and became Treasure. So like basically when you lose your most talented developers, that's when you go downhill. And then it didn't help that they made Hideo Kojima their VP of development, because basically what he would do is he would basically he would essentially he would cancel other projects and take their funding and put it into Metal Gear, which ballooned the budget. So basically, the Metal Gear games would sell, but they never would make enough money to make it worth how much money they put into it. So Todd Howard's a gangster. No, Todd Howard isn't a gangster. He's doing what he needs to do in order to make his money. I'm not going to knock his hustle. I'm just going to say, I just want people to recognize it's a fucking hustle and that they're getting played. Because they are, and you never buy Bethesda games in the first. You never buy Bethesda games in the first year. You wait until they go on sale. You wait until the Game of the Year edition, once it's been fixed by the community, and it's dirt cheap. The truth says Final Fantasy VI is the best. I mean, I'll keep it real. The truth, the best Squaresoft RPG, in my opinion, is Chrono Trigger. The best Final Fantasy that they've released, in my opinion, is Final Fantasy VI. Followed by maybe 4, and then after that 5. And then after that maybe 10. And then after that 12. Like that's it. Like the first 3 Final Fantasies are good, but they aren't like great. And that's the end of the podcast. Anyone have anything they want to pimp out before we wrap things up, even though we kind of went through all of that? Nothing?
Nah.
All right, then. So, okay, then. So, remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. You can reach me at mrredfoxbsbuster@gmail.com or at Twitter at Matthew Wesley at mrredfox91. How can they reach you, Kanoji?
Through my Discord. It's at Edition Secrets. That's the name of the Discord. If you want to reach me. Or Niwi Kanoshi Abominito. That's it.
All right, that's the end of the podcast. Stay tuned Stay tuned Saturday, where we will be doing our final coverage of E3, where we will be focusing primarily on Nintendo's Treehouse. So we will try to encapsulate 18 hours of material into one podcast. So it's going to be tough. That being said, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Peace. Good night.
And hype responsibly.